Dear SoU, it has been a ride, and here we are. To think it all started with me sending Jen and Blair a voice note instead of a cover letter 3 years ago, telling them why I was drawn to you, but also warning them about why I might be a horrible fit. I want to start by thanking Jen and Blair for giving me such a big playground, and then doing the work of convincing me that I was worthy of it. Convincing me that they trusted me with its care, and that I could invite others into it. To nobody's surprise, I come with a lot of feelings. Hello, Pisces moon, Cancer rising. And never once did either of them make me feel like I was too much. I remember pouring my heart out into blog posts and then writing paragraph-long disclaimers before sharing it with them for review. I remember the way my body settled when Jen and Blair essentially ignored the disclaimers and saw my words for what they were, exactly as I had intended. Over the years, I've tried on different titles with respect to you. While my official title was program manager, I definitely didn't feel like your manager. I was your caretaker, your mirror, your facilitator, your voice, your mother. I also think I was your partner and you were mine. We joke that I've had an existential crisis every 3 months of this contract, but I think each crisis has marked an important moment in our journey. I think they were our equivalent of relationship conflict. They were moments when you wanted to become something that I resisted, or vice versa. Moments when the context changed and we needed to examine decisions we had made around how we would want to work together. And moments when I felt like I was losing myself in the process of taking care of you. In working through these tensions with you, I discovered capacities that I didn't know I had, boundaries that I didn't know I could set, limits that I didn't know I could push, complexity that I didn't know I could sit with, and love that I didn't know could so profusely and profoundly infiltrate my work. Thank you for making your needs known and for your patience as I figured out and learned how to articulate mine. My friend Shelby Kim describes a particularly intense period of challenge and growth in her life as the one that gave her her spine. Similarly, you have helped me clarify what I stand for. You've helped me hone my voice, and you've helped me step into and own the work that is mine to do. And while you've been the source of many an existential crisis, you've also been a stabilizing force. For starters, you're the gig that has paid the rent over the last 3 years. The steady income source that I could count on, the bedrock that afforded the flexibility for other creative pursuits. As other projects, including my master's thesis, came to an end, you were an anchor through the grief. Through the inevitable questions of, who am I now? Through finding my feet again. When I was overwhelmed by dissonance within my own story, you gave me reprieve and perspective in the stories of others. And the longer-term nature of our work together, knowing that we had at least 3 years, meant that the usual sense of urgency around grants was replaced by a sense of possibility. A sense of building something to last. You have helped me remember and reroute in story. Story has always been my compass, and my time with you has only solidified that. Earlier this year, when we were talking about early childhood inspirations in Workshop 2, I remembered one of my earliest memories of being drawn to story. Growing up living with my paternal grandparents, Apapa and Apama, I quickly picked up on how much they enjoyed going to see our family doctor. Every few months, they would ask my parents to make an appointment for them, even if they were feeling fine, just to check in. It felt more like asking a friend if they could come over for a visit rather than making an appointment with a medical professional. They would be booked in for a 15-minute appointment and would inevitably spend upwards of an hour with the doctor. She would start with a regular checkup, asking them how they were feeling. They'd start by listing the locations of their aches and pains, and somewhere along the way, they would start laying down what was weighing on their hearts. The stories that they told the doctor spanned all of their children's lives and sometimes took them back into a past that I had never known. I, for one, was amazed by how much of their lives the doctor was granted access to, how many of their stories she was entrusted with. At 9 years old, I wondered how to be her. And at 21 years old, I wondered how to be her without 10 years of medical training. 3 years ago, I was telling my friend Jess about this job, program manager of the Stories of Us project at the Department of Imaginary Affairs. I remember her saying, "Matt, it sounds like this job was made for you." She, as per usual, was not wrong. This was the job of my childhood dreams. Over the last few weeks, people have asked me why I'm so determined to wrap you up on time, even when there's some flexibility to take more time and space if I need it. I've laughed and shared that you're the kind of baby that will milk me dry and still want more, that I need to set some sort of boundary to be able to focus on other projects. You're a needy baby, and it's not your fault. As someone who was tasked with being your primary caregiver, my strategy has been to find you more mothers rather than asking you to contain who you are and what you need. This community of mothers not only love you, but have a profound and learned understanding of what you need. They know how to listen to you, how to hear you, and how to grow alongside you. The term train the trainer has always felt so hollow and sterile to me, and I think cultivating this community of mothers for you has been the alternative that I've been craving. I trust that I'm leaving you in good hands. Spending the past month making this time capsule in memory of your first 3 years has been such a gift. As much as it's a creative way to do program evaluation, it was also an entirely selfish invitation. I've known for a while now that the one question that I'd like people to respond to at my funeral, with as much honesty and detail as they can muster, is, what was it like to be loved by her? And in inviting people to contribute artifacts about you, I essentially projected that dream onto you. I'd say that's pretty standard parenting, don't you think? In all seriousness, though, you are a vessel for and an expression of my love, and to have it reflected back by so many has been such a gift. Thank you to every single person who made the time to pause, to reminisce, to put feelings into words, reflections into prose, and memories into poetry. This has been the hardest month of my life to date, in ways that had nothing to do with you, and in ways that I couldn't have seen coming. At least once a day, I found myself wondering, how does one body hold this much grief and pain and still show up to create and nurture? And then I remembered. I am from a woman who grew a daughter within her while burying her other daughter. I am nothing if not built for the strange and sacred intimacy between grief and aliveness. Thank you for being a vessel for my love, for my aliveness, and for my creativity during a period of immense pain and grief. To nobody's surprise, again, I spend a lot of time thinking about endings. How do we end well? How do we close well? What is needed? What is responsible? What is loving? What is the ritual that is needed to facilitate the cord being cut, attachment coming undone? How do we mitigate harm in this process of ending? What needs to be held and what needs to be let go? It feels important to say that you and I are parting ways at a time of big changes in my life. It's like the grief Olympics over here. So I'm aware that I might not be feeling into or grieving this ending completely in this moment. On the flip side, I feel like I've been grieving you since the day I started loving you, so maybe I'll be fine after all. As per usual, the closing ritual comes to me moments before it's needed, and in this moment, I hear it. It's hard for me to name the kinship that you and I share, to title it in some way. So I will end with lines from a poem by Gwendolyn Brooks. They say everything, so I don't have to. We are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond. We are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond. We are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond. Take care, SoU. Lots of love, Mathura.